Okay, don't want to confuse the page. Hello, say hi if you come on. As in type hello on the stream. Hello, good morning, Gia. Hello, grab yourself some tea while we wait just a few minutes for our friends to turn up. Gia, Nyla, Nina, hello, welcome, loves, welcome, welcome. Sorry, I had a few little issues with the... Hello, Tracy. Tracy Pierce, welcome. Sabina, welcome. So great to see you. Feel you guys, gals. We have a few streaming issues today, so I apologize for that. You can test, and then when you go live, anything can happen. Come on in and say hello. Grab yourself some tea. Thank you for sending me love. I'm trying again and again to get the best streaming situation for us here, so... Hello, hello. Oh, thank you. Sending me love, sending me hearts. Appreciate it. Oh, let me know how you're feeling today. Just typing in a few reveal sensations before we start and waiting for our friends to arrive. All right, so let's get started here because I've got a lot to pass here today. And it occurs to me that today is going to be... Now, what I want you to feel encouraged to do... Hello, Nicole says, hey Candice, hello, welcome dear. So great to have you here, one of our new ladies. So, you know, in the light of if you feel like you need to do circles on the hips or do some sort of rocking to get yourself into more of a fluid orientation to yourself, please do that. I've got a lot to pass to you here today. So I, of course, have actually done 3 hours of practices before I turn up to you. And today I've got a lot of sort of teaching to teach you. So, all right. So as my tablet's about to lose power, it just told me before we started, I want to read something to us before we start here today. It is a quote from Marianne Williamson. I don't know if you know who she is, but this is how I want to start our talk on how to become the true queen. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Ah, isn't that a good one to start our day with? You. All right. So today I want to go over some new material, or let's say a new way or additional way to talk about the emergence into your true feminine power. Okay. So I do go over this in a certain way inside of the Powerfully Feminine Intensive. So let's start with this adage, if you like, that you cannot solve the problem from the level of the problem. Okay, it's an important one to get, to grok, as we say in the Anglo-Australian world. Grokking something means you get it, I've got it. Okay, so you cannot solve the problem from the level of the problem. Why I'm starting with that today is the false levels. Okay, all of the false levels are the levels from which and at which and in which the problems reside. The issues in your life, the gerbil wheels that you're stuck on, the things that seem to be unresolvable or irreconcilable, that is where they reside. So my creation of this model about the false to the true feminine and the false to true masculine is to illuminate in you what these things are, where you're stuck at times and where we fall into, And then we move toward the opposite of that, the true level, which is the solution or the transformation. So we've got the problem, which is the false level, and we have the solution, which is the true level, okay? So many of you are always asking me, but how? How do we do this? And how do I get from that to that? And etc., etc. And yet, if you don't understand what it is that you're transforming and that you are seeking to elevate, to transform and to illuminate, you're lost in a world of grayness. So my model is to create clarity out of grayness, out of misunderstanding. So remember, I created this whole model because there was so much confusion out there. I realized about what true and what feminine and masculine actually meant. And because of my background in astrology, in esoteric astrology for 20 something years, I realized it was because there is a false level and a true level, or a lower mode and a higher mode of these things. And so as we emerge into our queen, we're seeking to be in the higher mode, okay? So I'm going to encourage you to keep moving. I'm passing a lot of intense information today. So what I found, especially in the feminine, is we digest information better if we're in movement, okay? So let yourself move as I am just going to check in on you. Okay, good. All right. And as I often say, you cannot transform what you can't see. Okay? So when I give you this model, the false feminine, the maid and the princess, and the true levels, the queen and the priestess, it's because it suddenly becomes a lens through which you can observe yourself and the world around you. If you've already been having experiences of that, please share that with us. Because for me, a model, and this model is a framework. A framework. Think of it like a wireframe, if you like. This is not like some didactic model that this is how your queen will look. It's a framework into which you will emerge your queen, your unique, authentic expression of who you are, okay? So let's not take it as some sort of rule making or anything like that, okay? All right, good. So I just want to see if there's any questions before we get started. I have a lot of things open here because I lost some power over here today. Okay, good. So let's continue. So what I want to start is what I call the 4 C's. 4 C's, think Candice, 4 C's to true feminine transformation. And in order to illuminate the problem solution or the problem transformation arc, I'm going to talk to you about the false levels first, okay? Good. So I'm just going to check on you. Hello, hello, good. Remember, I love the hearts and I need your engagement. You kind of have to feed me whilst I'm teaching you, because that keeps me really engaged with you and it keeps me feeling you better, okay? So I love feeling your energy coming toward me. This is an exchange that happens, right? So in community, and especially when we're in a virtual community, I don't actually have you in a room with me where I could feel your energy actually here and I'd be able to manage your energy. We need to exchange with each other, and that comes through things like using the little hearts and the thumbs up and by talking to each other, okay? Good. All right. False level. Let's start with this. And I'm just going to go false true today. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. And there's a reason for that, because these apply to both the feminine and the masculine today, right? Some of them are a bit more feminine. So let's start with the 4 C's. The first one, the false level of the feminine, is in criticism, critical. Whether she criticizes herself or others, whether it's just going on inside of her head or whether she does it outwardly and verbally, she is highly critical, okay? Criticism, the inner constant critic. Think critical, the inner critic, being critical, all of that. I'm not talking about critical thinking, I'm talking about criticism, all right? That is the false level of the feminine, okay? And what we move toward, the antithesis, the opposite of the transformative arc to criticism, is contribution. It is so easy to be that person that sits in the stands and watch the people that have the courage to get on the stage or to get on the field or to get on the court and criticize what they're doing, how they could do it better, how they could act better, how they could sing better, how they could play better tennis, how they could be a better skier, how they could be a better ice skater, how could they be a better teacher. But if you're the one always sitting on the stage being critical, your antithesis is go out there and contribute. Find things to contribute to in your life, in your world. Have the courage to contribute, to share, to reveal. Okay, this is why I'm teaching this work on reveals and feeling sensations and sharing it with it. That is a contribution. Even if that's all you can do right now, that gets you out of anything that has you stuck in your inner critic, or in fact criticizes others externally. Okay, so this arc is the critical to contribute arc. This is the transformation. Okay, the second C is, I've spoken about this before, but I'm going to use the C word this time, and that is the C word of collude. Collude with is what princesses and maids do. They collude, they triangulate, they get into their own little world of talking with each other and supporting each other's smallness. They agree that this other thing outside of them isn't what they like or isn't what they want, or they collude through criticism, or they collude through some of the false mechanisms. Okay, so when you collude with, you are in the false feminine. So the solution in the transformation arc is to collaborate. Okay, I apologize, it's actually collude against. Okay, because when you're in collusion, you're doing this thing where you're creating a separation between something else and we collaborate with. It's a small detail there. So you are either colluding against or you're collaborating with. How can I actually create positive collaboration? And this is why I'm in the group even here, when somebody shares a reveal or has something difficult going on for them, we are in collaboration when we are supporting them upwards. Because collusion is often keeping the other person small. It's agreeing that they cannot transform themselves. It's agreeing with their smallness. When we collaborate, we actually encourage each other into the biggest expression of ourselves. So even if somebody's having a difficult time, if you were to agree and say, yeah, I don't like that either, or that doesn't work for me, that is a world of misery for both of you. And it's going absolutely nowhere. It is an encouragement. It's when you're whining, and we call it whinging in our world, in Australia, Anglo, and it doesn't actually create any transformation for you or the other person. In fact, when you collude with somebody, you encourage them to remain small-minded. Collaboration is the opposite. Collaboration is this world where we have this exponential effect. You know, the exponential curve, where it seems like it's looking the same all the time, but the calculation suddenly escalates. When we collaborate and we encourage people and we are using our collaborative consciousness to become bigger and better and richer together, that's when we actually have this exponential movement, transformation of ourselves. All right. I will continue. The third C is comparison at the false level. When you find yourself comparing yourself to somebody else, comparing your work to somebody else's product, comparing your business to somebody else, comparing your performance to somebody else's, comparing your looks, your body to somebody else, you are in the false feminine. Okay? Now the transformation arc here is creative expression or creativity. That's the positive arc. That's the positive C. Creative expression will get you out of comparison. Right when you find yourself getting stuck in comparison, you need to just exert your creative self. Creativity can mean so many different things. Some people are creative through writing. Some are creative through their voice or acting or performance or speaking. Some are creative through drawing or painting. Some are creative through the way they use their body, right? Some are creative by, like, one of my favorite creations is building businesses. I love the creative process of building a business. That's a big creative arc. But otherwise, I create a lot through movement, okay? I create with you gals all the time. And so I get stuck by this one. So I will find, because I'm learning from people that do similar things to me, something will go, I'll fall into my false feminine and go, oh, they're doing that better than I am, or it's terrible. And I'll go, oh, I'm in comparison at the moment. How do I get myself back into my queen? I create. Okay, so go into the creative expression. All right, and the fourth one, the false feminine, is effectively a coward. The transformation arc and the solution is courage. And we spoke about that at the very beginning of our time together, that we encourage each other, okay? We give permission for each other to be encouraged with each other. Encourage, it's such a beautiful word. And as we actually keep encouraging each other, and remember, appreciate does bring out encouragement in those around you. So when we're a coward and we're in the false feminine, it's when we're hiding and we're refusing to speak and we're refusing to identify and have the courage to actually see what our needs and desires are, and having the courage to speak it and ask for it. And I know that that arc is big, I get it. But remember that this whole vessel here that we have together is for you to practice, okay? Because sometimes if we have to start to go from being really suppressed or repressed with our needs and going to ask the person that we need that met more than anything, it's just too big a leap, okay? So we practice it here together. We practice it together. And that little step is a courageous step. So one of the things I do here is I want to encourage you to have little courageous steps, right? Little courageous steps, little courageous steps, little courageous steps. And I realize that there's really a fifth C here, which is that of celebrate. And I spoke about that to you the other day in a video. We could say the antithesis of that is people that crash or fall down or end up slumping, okay? That's a crash, and the opposite of that is celebrate. But I don't want you to see this arc from the problem to the solution, or the problem to the transformation, or the false to the true as some massive leap you have to take, or some massive leap of faith. It's actually everyday little baby steps, little baby steps, little baby steps. One more thing. Take one thing that I share with you today and take it out into your life. What I am doing here, and the reason why I returned back to this essential foundational work on the feminine, is that it is here where the ground of all of your transformation will occur, whether it's in your relationships or dating or maturing or diving deeper into a current relationship, or whether it's in your communications in general in your life, as in there's been, a problem with communication with people at work or friends or the like, or whether it has to do with your work environment in general, your productivity. So whether you're corporate or work for other people, or whether it's in fact your own business, your own work, your own creative expression, it is when you embrace the foundations of the feminine, which is why in the Powerfully Feminine Intensive I teach you the 5 core feminine arts, right? Because it's there that the greatest transformation will happen. And it's a bit like this. I'm talking about a foundation, but I'm also talking about the very top of the triangle, okay? As in, once you get this, everything else that it filters down into in your life will be affected by that. This is the way to get the clients. This is the way to have the cash flowing into you and you receiving it. This is the way for your energy to come back online. Now, it depends on where you're at, right? So you need to be honest with where you're at. So don't try to create this transformation over here. Comparison, remember. If you hear somebody else is having these big sexual experiences or these big transformations in their dating experiences, and you're just over here and you're still depleted. Okay? Good. So I want to see some feedback from you before we continue. Good morning, Inessa. She says, so simple and so true. Beautiful. So any questions, my loves, before we continue, whilst I grab some tea for my voice? Feedback, questions, experiences, ahas. So essentially what I'm doing here is we're going deeper into the polarity concept, okay? So we've got masculine, feminine polarity, but we also have this sort of dialectic, if you like, between the true and the false. Sorry, false and the true. Remember, I always draw it like that because it's the lower mode that is the false and the higher mode that is the true. Yeah? The false is when we're small, restricted, we feel fear, we're stuck, we believe that we're small. And it is when we break through the cloud layer. So we could also see it like you're underneath the clouds. When we break through the cloud layer, then suddenly we're in the sun, the illuminated light of our spirit, and there's no boundaries anywhere. You feel big, you feel expanded, you're elevated, you feel like you have emerged into yourself when you're there. Sarah says, yes, that's the first step always, requires the most courage. Good to be held in a safe place in that. Nicole says, I'm loving it. Great, good dear, good. All right, so yeah, so remember to keep moving, okay? Because remember when I bring this stuff and I'm talking about it, it's going to highlight in you where some of the smallness or the stuck stuff is in your body. So when you can always return to doing the Queen Rising ritual or the Queen Descending ritual as a way to help you embody and presence these parts. Bring your light, bring your life, bring your presence into the body. So I know that there's times I need to be in movement and there's times I need to be in stillness. So when I'm teaching you like this, I'm a lot more still. All right, so that's the 4 C's that became the 5 C's. Are there any of those you want any clarity on, whilst I want to add just a few more things to this equation? So we speak a lot about man mode as pushing, striving, and efforting. In fact, we could really talk about that as the false level. Because whilst we're pushing, striving, and efforting, we are in 0 faith and 0 surrender toward life, okay? We feel like we have to make everything happen. We have to do everything. We have to keep going, doing, never stopping, right? This is the world where the to-do list never ends and you feel pushed and stressed by time. You are in that world of comparison. You're in the world of criticism, inner criticism, and you may even be colluding with others or colluding with your smallness. You can even be colluding with your false feminine or your false nature there, okay? Again, the arc of transformation here. What do you need to do to change the pushing, striving? I have said pussying. No, that would be the transformation arc. The pushing, striving, efforting. The arc is pussying. Yeah. What I was going to say though was the transformation arc actually is flow, ease, and grace. Okay, we could say that is pussying or pussifying, as one of my colleagues says, pussifying. Flow, ease, and grace. It is the antithesis to the strangulation, the tightening that comes with the pushing, striving, and efforting energy. All right. And Tracy P says pussying. Yes. Pussying or pussifying. That's exactly what we're here for. Our work here is to pussify. Beautiful. All right, now if there's one more thing I wanted to add here. Okay. as many people are sort of newer here to the polarity model, this is why I'm adding this stuff here at the moment. But one thing I want to add to you here is this dialectic between pleasing and pleasure. Okay? The pleasing and pleasure dialectic. We have been trained to please, to take care of everything and everybody else first. We prioritize everyone and everything before ourselves. We end up putting ourselves way, 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 way down on the to-do list, and we actually never get to ourselves. That is the pleasing dynamic. Okay, this is the realm where you end up depleted, exhausted, overwhelmed, feeling like you're caved under things, like the weight of the world is on top of you. The reason why we have the art of pleasure as the final module in the Powerfully Feminine Intensive is it is through pleasure, through the how we approach everything in our life, that things will change. And in pleasure, we put ourselves at the top of the to-do list. Okay, all of this true feminine stuff puts ourselves at the top of the pile. And I have to repeat this again and again and again to get out of your head that you believe that this is selfish or self-centered. This is what I call self-full when you do this. And we seek to become self-full, not independent. Don't hear that. We fill ourselves up by putting ourselves as a priority. Because when we put ourselves first, remember, we plug in, and that turns us on and fills us up, hence self-full. We want to be full first. Because when you actually plug in to the unlimited font of energy and power that is in your body and your sexuality, you are plugging into an unlimited source of energy. It is from there that firstly we feel pleasure, and you can and will feel pleasure in your body all day long. It is from here that we can serve, because we are full to overflowing. There's this overflowing font of juiciness and life and energy that we are then able to give and serve from. Okay? So much about what I'm teaching you here and I'm showing and modeling for you in this work is about, it's not necessarily about making these big gross changes or decision changes in your life about your relationship or your work or your communication. It's about how you do those things. You start to inject the FEM operating system, FEM OS, right? You start to do life through being self-full, through pleasure, through being really embodied in your desire, through knowing what it feels like to be your queen, and to, if you fall into the false feminine, oh, okay, this is how I get back into the true feminine again. Okay, so we suddenly can continue everything else you're doing in your life from day to day. It's exactly the same outwardly, but inwardly you start to feel very, very different. And I can promise you that the outward response to you will change. You become magnetic. You become receptive as a vessel, right? Remember, one of my main definitions for femme, as in the femme sisterhood, is fierce, erotic, magnetic. Fierce because you're awake, you're alive, you are fierce. You are a fierce queen, right? You are protective. You own your domain. You take care of your people. You are a fierce, protective queen of your domain. You can protect yourself and your boundaries. You protect others, right? Erotic because that is the sexual energy. That is your energy. That is one of the core tenets of you stepping into your true feminine. And magnetic because that's what we become when we become the queen and the priestess, is we receive. We know how to let go, create space and out-breath, and to receive from the divine and the provision of the masculine and the world around us. The provision of the masculine is the divine, the universe, and the masculine around us providing for us. That doesn't necessarily mean your partner or a date, by the way. It can mean so many things. Just for example, a couple of weeks ago, my furnace exploded. It was a week where I had a lot of technology explode. I do this every so often to technology. Things suddenly break, I explode things. Anyway, and I didn't have heat and it was suddenly very cold. And I don't know how this happened, but the maintenance guy in the building, who's totally sweet, found out about it and said, hey, you're okay for heat. Can I help you? And I just texted him and communicated with him, and he lent me this beautiful bar heater. It was so sweet of him. He brought it up, he connected it. That was the masculine providing for me. Okay, so it doesn't always have to be your partner. All right, where are we at, ladies? Nicole says, yes, yup. Ines, aha, when I'm in a false feminine, that's why it hits my back painfully. Thank you, absolutely. And Sahar says, I start feeling happy. Yay. Beautiful, beautiful. Good, my loves. All right, so this is the time for you to ask me questions. I'm going to put some music on because I feel like it. Remember, I love the feedback, okay? Give me feedback so that I can support you. You can send me hearts and love, or you can ask questions, or you can ask for clarification. This is where we get to interact a bit more on these live streams here. And if you're listening to this as a recording, you can also put things in here. Hi, Nina. How do you keep the flow from turning back into man mode? I'm going to hear you say there, okay? Okay, you know one of my big ones there? I'm going to give you a little tip. That's when I do my sexy dance breaks. If I find myself restricting or overworking or pushing or striving, right, going into the efforting, I'll catch myself. Okay, I will start to acknowledge I'm doing it, and I'll go, okay, that's when I'll go, what do I need to do right now? So my body often wants to move and needs to move and dance, okay? So you need to find your way. You might need to go for a little walk, like a little slow hike. You might need to go and have a bath. That's another one that I love doing, is go and just turn the lights off, light some candles, some essential oils, a hot bath, a bubble bath. That's a great way to let go and spread your energy again. But I need little micro things during the day because I'm working, right? Or I'm with clients. And so the sexy dance break is a good one. We're going to do a bunch of movement next week. Okay. Any other questions, my loves? I hope that was clarifying today. I put on some Robin Thicke. Probably shouldn't say that because Facebook will shut us down. Tracy too loves the sexy dance breaks. Yeah. Sexy dance breaks, such a great way to get into the motion, the fluidity of the body. And you know, I always say this thing, Nina, dance as if nobody's watching. Because they aren't. So you just let your body move in the way she wants to move. Literally, I will bring fluid motion back into the body. Like, how do I bring fluidity? So the bath obviously brings fluidity because it's the water element. If you're near the ocean, that's an incredible way to bring fluidification back into the body. Okay, because we're going from rigidification to fluidification. Okay, rigidify, hardness, closing, crunchiness, and then we go into flow and fluid. Yeah, I am modeling it for you now. Sahar, I didn't understand exactly how to be in pleasure. I don't understand the question, Sahar. I know it might be your English a little bit, love. So Sahar, as you're new to us, in the Powerfully Feminine Intensive program, which is, if you stay on with us, will be offered to you, I have a whole module, 5 videos on pleasure, okay? Pleasure is an experience in the body where you feel pleasure in the body. Your body is built for pleasure as a woman. We are literally built to feel pleasure in our body all of the time. So when I spoke about the sexy dance breaks, that's because it feels good in your body and it releases oxytocin. Oxytocin, as I've said many times before, displaces the cortisol. Okay, that is a good way. Let's just keep it simple there. Sabina's writes, I love the aliveness in the space you're passing. Oh, good. Thank you, honey. Yeah. Don't get me started on this. Is the seated sexy dance break, Tracy. This is a little different. I'll do that sometimes too. If I've got 5 minutes, I'll do a little seated sexy dance break. Beautiful. We're going to do a super sexy Saturday next week. We're going to have a little bit more time together. I'm going to do a lot of embodied movement and motion with you, and we're going to do some queen rising type of practices after that to really get you to feel this opening and this fluidification in the body. Such a powerful and simple way to get into your queen. Maybe an answer there too, Saha. Nicole, what advice would you give to single women praying to receive and experience extraordinary love? Oh, such a beautiful question. You know what? The thing is, Nicole, the way I work with anybody, whether they're seeking relationship and love, or starting a new business, or trying to alter the dynamics in a relationship, or change their relationship to a corporation, etc., is really own your queen first, okay? Own your queen, okay? At some stage I will talk a bit about boundary creation and understanding the power of boundaries, such that when you actually start to go out into the world, you are holding this standard, this is who I am, this is how I'm turning up, I am an absolutely true feminine queen, because as you hold that, you assert that in yourself and in your body, you become so attractive that you will attract the true king toward you. So stay with us, stay with this work, keep doing the practices, and I'm happy to do an additional practice someday on how to go out dating, because I know there are quite a few women in our work here at the moment that are doing that. Oh gosh. Oh, I'm gonna have to go because I've got a client coming up. Forgot about that. How do we receive? How do we become receptive? Nyla, I don't know if you have got to the Art of Receptivity module yet, my dear, but everything I'm talking to you today has to do with creating more space and opening in your body. You will become receptive when you learn how to do the things that I've suggested you do today. The more you step out of the false feminine and into the true feminine, you are actually opening more. You're actually creating a bigger and bigger vessel inside yourself. You become bigger. And as we become bigger, we can receive more. Now, I did a whole, go back and look at the video I did on receptivity. Okay, it's in the videos section. There's an entire video on that. I really encourage you to go back and look at that. Okay, my loves, we are going to finish up here today. Ah, so great to be with you. I love doing these live streams with you. I may inject a few more. And I want to do something where I start to do this thing that I call Queen Quickies. Okay, Queen Quickies, which is sort of quick ways to get into your queen. The reason why I've been a little remiss or reluctant to do it is you really become a queen through immersion, through giving yourself time and space, and it is after you gain mastery that you can do it quickly. That being said, I am going to give you some queen quickies. All right, my loves, I love you so much. Keep sharing on the page, keep revealing yourself. Remember, courage, and encourage each other and support each other as we move forward. Sending my love to you, big love, big kiss, mwah, big whoosh of oxytocin to you as we've been oxy-talking here together today, and sending you so much love. And we'll see each other on the page and talking again very soon. Bye-bye for now.